Hello, this is Taylor Elwood, your business wizard for eccentric entrepreneurs at ImagineYourReality.com. And today I want to talk about how to work on projects. We can call it project management if you really want to, but I'm going to just call it how to work on projects because when you're a solo business owner, chances are that um, you're the one organizing it and managing it and everything else. I think that what stops people from fully going through with projects is a lack of organization about how the project is going to work. What I mean by that is that typically a project occurs in larger businesses and whatnot, occurs within a system, and there's numerous people who are on hand to make that project occur. But in the case of a small business like mine or yours, you're the one responsible for it, and you may have somebody who answers to you. Maybe you've hired a VA, for example, or and so they're helping you with some projects, or maybe you've hired someone to do some specific work for your business. But most of the time, the person who's responsible for the project is ultimately you. And so I think it's really important for you to figure out a system of your own that allows you to get your projects done. Now there are some different tools out there. For example, one tool that's popular is Trello, which is basically an online project management software where you can put down your projects and put the steps that you're working on and where you're at and add notes and all that stuff. And hey, that's great. So that's one possibility that you can use, and it can organize information in a number of different ways. I'll be honest, I don't use Trello. In my case, I use a whiteboard. And the reason that I use a whiteboard is I like to have that visceral feeling of being able to wipe away the current step in the project. Um, but having the whiteboard allows me to also see the projects that I need to work on every day. It's right there. I can't ignore it. It's just a part of my reality. And that's what works for me, and it works for some other people, and that's great. And again, what really matters is what works for you in your business. Aside from having something like Trello or a whiteboard or whatever you're going to use, and I want to add, I don't recommend putting lists together on notepads or pieces of paper, because you know what, you can lose those notepads or pieces of paper. With Trello, it's online, it's in a cloud, so barring something happening to the internet, you have access to it. And with a whiteboard, it's pretty hard to lose a whiteboard. You're not going to throw one out accidentally, whereas with a piece of paper you will. Okay, getting back to the matter at hand. Um, so beyond that, though, you also need to have, I think, you need to have a sense of organization when it comes to the tasks that you're doing that goes beyond just tracking where you are. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean is that you want to be able to break your projects down. For example, if you're writing a book, you're not just writing the book, you're writing chapters within the book. So you can break it down to, I'm writing this chapter, or even I'm writing this section in a chapter. And the benefit of that is it allows you to turn what you're working on into manageable steps instead of it being an overwhelming project. If you're working with a client, it's the same thing. Okay, I need to research this for my client in order so that we can move ahead with the next step. Okay, great. You've figured out where things need to go and what needs to be done in order to move forward with that particular project. This is something that anyone can learn. I know some people say, well, I'm super creative and if I'm organized, that'll take away from my creativity. And I beg to differ. I'm a very creative person. And I find that if anything, being organized helps me to enhance my creativity. Um, and if you're a super organized person, yes, you can also be creative. Um, you know, it, you may not find that you're as creative as other people, and some creative people may find it harder to organize, but it doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means those are skills that need to be learned and worked on. And that's kind of the thing that I think sometimes people forget about too. They'll say, okay, well, yeah, I want to work on my projects, but if I do become too organized or too creative, these things won't get done. And that's not the case. It's just a matter of finding the right balance. but also recognizing that you do want to allow those parts of yourself to be there and take part. And that sometimes they may cause some changes in your project, but in a healthy way. Alright, so that's some thoughts on how to organize your work, and of course we'll talk more about this topic, but feel free to leave a comment below if you have any suggestions or ideas on what you can do as a solo business owner to organize yourself and organize the work that you're doing so that you stay on top of it. And if you haven't subscribed, please click over here on the dragon. Thanks.